Here she is, Vanessa Demopoulos, back on the show now, who takes on Maria Oliveira next on November the 19th. Vanessa, how you doing?
I'm so awesome. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. And I understand that you just had a surprise visit from USADA.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it.
Well, they stopped by randomly though, right? Like throughout your camp for everyone.
For everyone. You know what? I didn't get my sticker today. I should hit them up and be like, guys, you forgot to give me my sticker.
Can you just say, what is that like? Do they show up with like a USADA polo on, or is it just some random person that just shows up out of nowhere?
No, yeah, they have like a USADA polo, but I mean, like, and they're super, well, most of the, yeah, they're super friendly. I don't think I've ever had like a not friendly USADA person, you know? So, and it's 90% of the time, it's like right when I've already used the restroom, and now they're just like sitting there with me. And I'm like, hey guys, so like I'm living a whole lot of life and you get to live it with me right now. So like
You must have
yeah.
seen the Nate Diaz video recently with the USADA guy where he was smoking weed, right?
No, I
Oh
didn't
my
see that
God.
one.
Yeah, you're so you I mean, I guarantee whatever happened while he was there, it didn't compare to that. You have to go look it up after this interview. It was hysterical.
No, yeah, like they like walked in, I'm like eating breakfast and like chugging my coffee and like making my bed and cleaning my house and like doing all of these things. And I'm like, sorry guys, like I got things to do. I'm like doing my makeup. I'm like, I'm like doing things like, but I'm also chugging. I chugged like a whole liter and a half of water in like an hour of time. So they just like waited around for me. I like felt bad. I'm like, I hope you don't got nothing to do today. Like,
Hey,
that's
part of
literally their job, you know.
right,
So
exactly. Part of the job. Well, life is good for you. If you get this win on November the 19th, you'll be on a 3-fight win streak. So we'll dive into that here shortly. But first, I just wanted to ask. I was looking at your Instagram, getting ready for this interview, and I see you were hanging out with Joe Rogan recently. What are you and him like, best friends now?
yeah, he's a homie, you know, like Joe, okay, honestly, for somebody who has like so many things going on, he is one of the nicest individuals. He is so down to earth. That man has perspective on life and he is so kind. And I think that all of us can take a page out of Joe's book, you know, for somebody who like has all of this influence and all of these things. I mean, the man has 3 major careers, the top podcast in the entire world, and he still takes time to be completely kind and totally genuine to those around him, that he loves his family. Like it's just really awesome to see somebody who's like on such a pedestal yet so freaking down to earth, you know.
Absolutely. I've met him once. I'll tell you a quick story really briefly. So I lived right down the road from him in 2010 in West Hills, California. And I saw him at a Quiznos and he was eating by himself. And I was like, it's Joe Rogan. I got to go say something to him. So I waited until he was done eating. And I walked up and I just started talking to him about who would win GSP versus Anderson Silva if they ever fought. And he couldn't have been any kinder. He was so nice. He sat and talked to me for 5 minutes. So I completely agree with everything that you just said. And so to follow up on that, obviously you jumping into his arms after your UFC 270 win went viral. We saw, what happened with the Michael Bisping thing. But if Daniel Cormier is in there interviewing post fight, if you get a win here, are you going to try and jump in his arms?
I'm not trying. I'm
No,
doing
you're doing it.
it. Listen, Michael Bisping didn't let me jump in his arms. That was forced.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's really awesome. I actually got to interview DC on the Hall of Fame for the UFC when he was inducted, which, what an honor to be able to talk to a man on such a highlight moment of his life. And yeah, like I think like, he and I like we vibed, like it was cool, it was a really cool conversation. And I'm pretty sure everybody expects it at this point, like Joe Rogan, it was like, oh shit, that was cool. And then when I did it to Bisping, everyone's like, oh, this is a thing now, so they should know that it's coming.
It's coming. Okay, fair enough. Let's recap your June fight over Jin Yu Fry, a split decision victory. I just first want to start with, you never really know what the judges are looking for nowadays. I thought you won the fight, but what did you and your team think before they rendered their decision?
Before the decision, honestly, like, so Santino DeFranco is my head coach, and I trust that man with my life, you know, and like he just came in there. He was so proud of me. He's like, I don't even care if you won. He's like, you just did an amazing job and you listened very well. And he was just really ecstatic about the performance that we put on. Um, for me, I was scared because I haven't always gotten the best end of decisions, you know, like because again, you don't know what the judges are looking for. And I was ecstatic. I thought that I had won the fight. I thought that I had controlled most of the fight. I thought that I had done more damage throughout the fight. So yeah, like I thought it was a pretty clean sweep, but it's a decision. You just don't know, you know. So yeah, we were just very happy with the performance, no matter what had happened.
And it,
And of course, I was more than happy to have gotten the W.
right. And it seemed like it was kind of like your power versus her volume. And she had a longer reach than you. So she did get off with the jab quite a bit. How difficult was that to kind of get on the inside and land your power shots?
It wasn't difficult at all for me. I think that I'm pretty short, so it's it's kind of hard to find training partners that are my size. And everybody's always taller than me in the gym, and everybody's normally taller than me in the ring as well. So it's not that different for me, fighting versus training. And I'm really grateful for the training partners that I have that give me the best looks possible to allow me to like overcome those potential challenges that would happen in the cage.
Well, let's talk about camp right now because we're still 2.5 months out before your next fight. So has camp even started yet? Or are you just kind of going through the motions, just kind of sharpening the skill set before you actually dive into full blown camp?
Man, I'm always in camp, you know, like I take what's called traincations. Like I just got back from Austin, Texas, and I was out there training with B Team, who is one of the most elite jujitsu teams right now in the world. You know, like you have like the pinnacles of them, but I feel like everyone at B Team is currently fighting in the ADCC, you know? And B Team broke off from what used to be the Danaher Death Squad. And then like they broke off into one, and then there's also like the B Team broke off into the second. And that's all jujitsu stuff, you know? But it's like that's where my passion lies. Like I'm always training, like no matter what it is, like if I'm training jujitsu, if I'm training MMA, like if I'm training striking, like when I'm in camp, the things that change is my focus around particularly what type of training I'm doing. So I don't really know the difference. I'm just always training, and I've always been this way. Like that's my happy place.
Who are your main training partners when you're at Fight Ready, when you're in camp? Who are the people that you're on the mats with the most?
Kyle Estrada is definitely one of my main training partners. He has been for years now. We both moved to Arizona from Los Angeles separately, but like he was one of my main training partners back in LA, and now he's one of my main training partners here as well. He was in my corner for my last fight. He helps me so much with my striking. That man has really beautiful striking. And honestly, like man, like AJ Reese. I have so many like people who are on the mats, you know, like Hunter used to be in a UFC fighter. Like we just have like a gym full of UFC fighters, you know, like Kevin Natividad, his brother Christian Natividad. And a lot of them are like kind of smaller, you know, like Haley is there. We have like AQ who just fought last weekend. Yeah, like it's beautiful, you know. And then I also go over to Siege where we have like Brandon Olivas, we have like Kamala Kirk, um, and all of these dudes like they're bigger than me, you know. Like I'm the only female that's really like on the mats on a consistent basis, you know. Like we have like a few girls who drop in here and there, and that's always nice to see some females. But yeah, I just train in a gym full of dudes, man. Just getting it in.
What's the one area of your game? I'm sure you've evolved in every area, but is there one in particular that you feel like you just made leaps and bounds, like of strides over the last years?
Definitely my striking and my wrestling. I feel like you know my jujitsu's always been so such a huge focal point for me because I'm a jujitsu competitor still. You know, like had this fight not come through, I was still going to be competing in combat jiu-jitsu on October 22nd, which I'll now be commentating for.
Oh, nice.
But so jiu-jitsu for me has always been a thing, but my striking has just like come leaps and bounds as of late, as has my wrestling. I actually moved to California to get better at wrestling. And I trained under Kenny Johnson, Bolt Wrestling, for quite a while over at Black House. And then now I moved here to Phoenix, Arizona, where I get to train with Angel Cejudo, you know, and Henry Cejudo. So, but Angel Cejudo is Henry's brother, and also kind of like helped Henry to get to the Olympics and do all the things that he's done. And Angel is just like an absolute wizard, and Santino is just such an amazing instructor for me. So I've really just leveled up.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I know it hasn't been announced yet, but Henry's coming back, right? He's going to fight again.
Oh, Henry's definitely been training. Yeah.
Okay. I love hearing that. I do want to get a couple of fight picks from you. Obviously, this weekend or this upcoming weekend is UFC 279, or at least a week from now. Diaz Chimaev is the main event. Chimaev is a massive favorite. Diaz is a big underdog, and you know I'm a Diaz fan. I'm pulling for him, but I just can't see him winning this fight. What are your thoughts on that main event for UFC 279?
I'm a huge Diaz fan. I'm a huge Ferguson fan, and I think both of these guys have a really rough night looking ahead of them. You know, I think that Chimaev's been really and amazing on his rise. You know, like I was actually just doing my homework last night, looking back at the records, and I think Burns has been the biggest challenge for him thus far. But he really showed his level of overcoming, you know, adversity throughout that fight. And I think that Diaz has very, I just don't think he's ready for this, man. You know, I think that he really wants to be in there and he wants to be the fighter that he was, but I just don't know that he is. And I see, you know, like we see those moments of like amazing things from him. And then he just like lets off the gas and like chills again. And it's like, bro, like you're not on the couch smoking weed. Like get out there and fuck this dude up, you know? Like you have the skill times 100. Now do it, you know, where I think Chimaev is just like gonna hit that gas pedal and really bring everything that we know that he is right now. I think he's on top of the world, and it's going to be really difficult to break that confidence from him. And I think that he's willing to come over adversity where we don't know if Diaz is.
Yeah, and I think that the size difference is going to play a big factor in this fight. Chimaev is just huge for even for 170, and Diaz I feel like is a natural lightweight, so I think that's going to play a big factor in this fight. Unfortunately, as far as your weight class goes, there is a big title fight at UFC 281. Carla Esparza, Weili Zhang. Who do you see winning this one? Does the Cookie Monster retain, or does Weili win the belt again?
I have trained with both of them. I literally love Carla. Like that's my girl. You know, I trained with Carla for quite a long time. We did a lot of wrestling together, and you know, I mean, Weili is just a wizard on the feet. You know, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to say who I think is going to win this fight. So I'm going to steer away from that one, because I literally love them both. And it's going to be so difficult for me as an analyst who, like, you know what? I don't believe I'll actually be at MSG because I'm going to be fighting the very next weekend. So I actually get to avoid that whole thing on the mic. And I'm going to try to.
So are we going to see you at some point, on UFC Fight Pass or ESPN Plus doing some analyst work? Because I feel like you'd be perfect for that.
Oh, I currently am co-host of the Extra Rounds on UFC Fight Pass, where I do pre and post show for the UFC pay-per-view events.
I haven't even seen that. When does it come out for every event?
Bro, yeah. So all of the pay-per-view events, we do them live on UFC Fight Pass on Facebook. And yeah, I don't know if they air them anywhere else, but I am at these events. I am doing these things. It's
Wow.
And thank you for saying that's what I'm
Yeah.
fit to do, because that's what I do, homie. That's my
Well,
job.
I have a full-time job, and so this is my part-time job, and I do some broadcasting for regional events here in New England. So I'm trying to grind that as well. But there's not enough hours in the day. I can't watch everything on ESPN Plus. But I guarantee you, now that I know that, I'm definitely going to go check you out and watch you do your thing, because it definitely makes sense that you should be doing that, because you're very well spoken and clearly knowledgeable. Now, when you do dive into Camp Pierre full blown, Vanessa, when specifically do you start to make the weight cut down to 115? Do you wait till you get like a week or two before, or is that something where you have to start to dial it down as you go?
Yeah. So my last camp was a little bit different because I had come down from like 140. So my weight's my weight's much more managed at this point. I'm a very big 115. So I definitely start to like I'm already dialed in, honestly, and I'm where I would be like during the duration of my camp. And then the final like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I really start to try to like taper it down, and that's why I can walk into the cage just like so confidently, because I end up fighting at the same weight that I've been my entire camp, which is nice. I'm very, very powerful. I'm very strong.
That's fantastic. And with you being in Arizona, that's not too far from Vegas. What's that flight like?
Oh, 40 minutes. You know, like by the time you're in the air, they're like, oh, would you like a drink? You're like, no, I'm all right. And then they're like, all right, we're landing. Like,
Perfect. Perfect. And as far as this matchup goes, Maria Oliveira, she's 13-5. So she's logged a lot of hours inside of the cage. In June, she had a split win over Gloria De Paula. What do you think of this matchup for yourself? How do you like it?
love this matchup for myself. So she also fought my best friend, Tabitha Reese, and did not do very well against that. So, you know, when Tabitha's also a black belt, she's also a grappler, as am I. And I think that people kind of undermined me a lot, and I'm completely okay with that, because I do the work that is necessary to be able to walk in there confidently, to be able to do the work that needs to get the fuck done.
So how does this fight end? Are you getting her out of there?
I am going to finish this one fairly quickly.
TKO sub?
Guess you have to be watching.
Okay. Well, November 19th, can't get here soon enough. It's always great watching you get in there and compete. And it's always great talking to you, Vanessa. Before I do let you go, I want to give you the floor. Please tell people where they can follow you on social media. And if you have anyone
Let's
to thank, the floor is yours.
get your butts over to my Instagram, Lil Monster Demo, LIL Monster Demo. And I try to be as awesome as I can be every day for you guys, because I love you guys, you know, and like, yeah, like what am I doing with my hands? I don't know. But these are things that I do on Instagram too. So come over and check it out.